for that 1 out of 100 person who loves that abrupt get down, there's 99 others who just want to call someone else instantly when they instantly are regretting calling you when you answer the phone like that. I'm sure the person who answered, they probably didn't get your business this weekend. So no, that's probably how it works. So that's not going to work. We think it's maybe saving time in our day. Saving time, but it's costing you customers. And if you if you don't have enough time to answer the phone properly and you are generating enough income, well, guess what? Hire someone to answer the phone properly. Don't just be rude to your customers to make the interaction shorter.
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today we're talking about Edmonton Business Coach, why you need to role play. Again, Edmonton Business Coach, why you need to role play. I have Trevor with me from Inspired Method. Trevor, you've been part of some of our role play sessions. I'm sure you've done lots in other businesses as well.
Yeah, and it's always interesting doing role play because at first it's kind of uncomfortable and awkward. But once you get into it and you make a game out of it, then it becomes a lot easier to do. And I think it's a vital role for any business to do some kind of role playing, especially when it comes to customer interactions and just doing what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah. So it's not just 7th grade drama school; it's a way to make more money. So the quote that we have here is Michael Gerber, author of the E-Myth, and he says the entrepreneurial model has less to do with what's done in a business and more to do with how it's done. The commodity isn't what it's important. The way it is delivered is. So, it's less about, the commodity that you're delivering and the more about the way you are delivering it. That's what the customer values the most. And the statistic that we have here is 50% of all Canadian small business will go out of business in the first 5 years. 42% again will go out of business because of their inability to onboard enough customers. Making it the most common reason why businesses will fail. And the story that we have here is business owners, they often mistakenly think that either how they answer the phone doesn't matter, or if they answer the phone in an abrupt get down to business sort of tone, that the customers will get excited about their professionalism and just be so excited to do business with them. This guy's abrupt and down to business. Maybe a couple, but for the most part, that's not going to work so well. So, Trevor, what are the questions that these business owners need to be asking?
Well, before I ask the first question, I had a very interesting person when I made a phone call the other day to a business.
Yeah.
They answered the phone like this. Yeah. The best way to answer a phone, let me tell you. I was excited to talk to this person.
Yeah.
Anyway, question number 1, Josh. How would the average person react if their friends were abrupt on the phone?
So if your friends were abrupt, if you should have had this one friend and you're calling this friend up all the time, what do you want? Yeah. Most people are going to eventually grow tired of that. They're going to stop calling that person. It's not going to be an enjoyable experience. So, you just look in your personal relationships when you call people, if they're negative or abrupt, when you call them all the time, eventually you're probably going to call them less or not at all.
Yeah. Now, will customers almost also react negatively if the tone is abrupt?
Yes, most customers, for that 1 out of 100 person who loves that abrupt get down, there's 99 others who just want to call someone else instantly when they instantly are regretting calling you when you answer the phone like that. I'm sure the person who answered, they probably didn't get your business this weekend. So no, that's probably how it works. So that's not going to work. We think it's maybe saving time in our day. Saving time, but it's costing you customers. And if you you don't have enough time to answer the phone properly and you are generating enough income, well, guess what? Hire someone to answer the phone properly. Don't just be rude to your customers to make the interaction shorter.
Now, why is it important to smile on a phone call?
So, people don't realize is that it's not just sounding pleasant, it actually, the reaction on our face that we've just been pre-programmed that we can actually hear the difference on the phone if someone is smiling or not. it's just, our genetic programming, and we've been interacting by voice for our entire lives, that we know when someone is pleasant or fake pleasant. If they're smiling on the phone, even though you can't see that person, you can actually pick up the differences in the pitch of their voice, and you're more likely to be receptive to what they're saying.
Now, Josh, why are some companies always good on the phone no matter who answers?
So the companies who are good on the phone, you've had them. You've had those experiences where it's just and then you have these other experiences where you call some companies and they're good on the phone if you get the right person. And then there's these other companies you get on the phone and they're good on the phone no matter who answers the phone.
Yeah.
They're only good for one reason. It's not because they have some magical hiring process, and that's usually what a lot of business owners think is, I'm just going to find the right person to answer the phone. No, they're good on the phone because they practice being on the phone. They role play about what's being on the phone. They do it over and over again with all of their staff, and that's why they're good at it. It's not because they found one magical person. It's because they've practiced it. Just like any other thing in life, if you're good at it, you've probably practiced doing it.
Yeah. Now, why is it ideal to have 3 people to do call training?
3 people on a call training will let you do some role play, so you can think of, you have the one person who's actually calling, they're playing the role of the client, and the person who's actually working the business, and then you have the observer, right? Because sometimes you're going to see things from different roles. If you're always just doing the talking or pretending to be the client, you might see different things. But if you have someone who can also just function as, just that they're watching the interaction, they get a little bit of a different perspective, and they might have some feedback onto how you can make it better. So I think the ideal scenario is you have 3 people. The person who's role playing the prospect, the person who's actually practicing being on the phone, and the observer.
Now, if you don't have 3 people, can you use friends or family to practice the role play?
I think it's fine. This is a very basic interaction, because a lot of times in most businesses, you're not trying to interact with other professionals.
Right.
You're not an electrician trying to interact with other electricians, or a lawyer trying to interact with other lawyers, or an accountant trying to interact with other accountants. You're an electrician trying to interact with someone who knows nothing about being an electrician. That's why they want to hire an electrician. So yeah, friends, family will be fine on role playing that thing. So if you're a one-man organization, get 2 of your buddies together and go over how you answer the phone, and people who are maybe nice enough to be pleasant about it, but not too nice that they'll be fake about it. So they'll actually give you some constructive feedback.
Now, Josh, should you have a phone script next to every phone?
Yeah, I think it's so important that you can have this script of what you want to say and your plan of attack. Well, that's great. You got to have it where you need it. It's got to be at the phone. I'm big on paperless office, and we try to minimize paper as much as possible. But you go down to our phones, and it's like the one piece of paper that we have there sometimes is a laminated sheet on what our phone template is and what the checklist that we would have if it's a new client calling in. So even if our computers are down, we can still get that one. We can't get anything else, but we can at least answer the phone right and try to get appointments for new potential clients. So that's the one thing that you just need to have it, first and foremost. It can't be buried in a file cabinet somewhere. It's got to be right by the phones, because that's where you need to use it.
Now, why should you practice a new client inquiry scenario?
Well, it's probably the lifeline of your business. A lot of people think that they're dealing with difficult situations, and a lot of the difficult situations they're having is because they don't have enough customers. That's why they're running out of cash, right?
Yeah.
They're consistently dealing with a difficult customer because they don't have an ability to fire that customer. So that customer becomes their boss, not a customer.
Right.
So you need to practice that client inquiry scenario. It is so costly to get the phone to ring, to get that initial inquiry email, to get that initial appointment, and then you lose it by not practicing it, right? You have a fantastic service, but for most business owners, you have to realize that you were trained. I was trained to be an accountant. Someone was trained to be a plumber. Someone was trained to be an electrician. Probably none of us were ever trained to be receptionists.
Right.
And believe it or not, there's no receptionist school out there that is constantly supplying the market with reasonably priced people to answer the phone. So your choices are to pay through the nose for someone who has been doing it for years, or find systems that you can actually onboard people at a reasonable price and teach them how to do it effectively.
Now, Josh, should you have standardized ways to handle objections from potential clients?
Yeah, you should. I mean, some people are going to object. The first objection is always, give me your price.
Yeah.
Give me your price. And you need to way to handle that, because in most businesses, if you're a dentist, you can't quote the price on the phone. I don't know how much your tooth hurts. That's great. I don't know how much it's going to cost to fix it. And if you can't move them off of that, what's the price, and start communicating the value, you're just setting yourself up that the only people that will do business with you are the ones that are looking for the cheapest price. And believe it or not, ones that are looking for the cheapest price probably the least likely to buy anyways. They're usually just tire kickers, and they're probably the least likely people to buy, and probably the people that you don't want to do business with anyways.
Yeah.
So
almost better to get those people off the phone anyhow.
Yeah. So, but if you don't have a way to answer that question, what's your price, and you communicate why it's impractical to give you a price over the phone, or start communicating what the value of your service is, and in addition to, why maybe you're not the lowest price, but why it's not the lowest price, and why they shouldn't go with the lowest price option. You're going to lose those standoffs, if you want to call them, those interactions, right? Why do I have to give this information? Why do you want to do an initial consult? Why that's important? You don't want to have to think about that on the fly. You just have them there. They're going to ask the same questions over and over again. Why can't I get the owner of the business on the phone right now? That's usually the other one too, once you start to scale. So it's why can't I get the price on the phone, and why can't I get the business owner on the phone right now? You better have scripts if you want to diffuse that, and that'll help you move those situations forward, but do so in a way that's not stressful and confrontational to the person who's asking those difficult questions on the phone.
Now, Josh, once you grow, should you practice ways to avoid interrupting the owner?
Yeah, 100%. So that'll be like, I touched on it a little bit earlier. It was just, the people have that price objection. Probably the next most common one is people calling up to always ask for the owner. It could be a question where a lot of times the owner does not need to get involved. This is a telemarketer trying to sell you something, and the owner is getting interrupted in their day. They're trying to make systems and templates to make their business better, working on the complex problems to help their customers more. They're making content to make that phone ring more often, and we're interrupting them because someone wants to sell them an internet connection. We need to make those go away, or even as the team grows, your idea is to to empower your team. So as soon as a customer calls, if they go straight to the owner, now the owner is just, they're the help desk. Can you imagine if Bill Gates was the help desk at Microsoft? What would happen? Would they have better products, right? Do you think Apple built the best phones because Steve Jobs took all the technical inquiries that came in? No, he built the best phone because he was spending his time building the best phone and not answering the question that probably half of his team could answer themselves. And a lot of times your team can answer the question better than you can because they're more up to date on what's happening currently in that situation. So you need to be able to find a way to transition that person, especially as a small business owner, that they not only deal with that other person, but they're comfortable in dealing with it. You're trying to transition them to the team that you have in place in a way that's as most comfortable as possible, so they feel like they are getting taken care of. So I think that's what we have here today. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, please leave us some comments so we know what you'd like to have addressed in future videos. And please hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds of business. Thanks very much.